All right, and we got the density for both. And now we'll move on to population density. So it says you can define density in other situations that involved area or volume besides the mass per unit. Okay, and so this would be like if I had 100 students in the quad versus 100 students in my classroom, the population density in my classroom would be a lot higher, right? A lot more crowded than out in the quad there, even though the population is the same for both. So if we're trying to figure out the population density, I'm going to say population density equals the population divided by the amount of space that we have, which we'll call the area. And we'll have to find the area based on what the shape of the space is that I have here. So it says find the population density. Neverland has a population of 5,268,367. So there's the population. Its territory can be modeled by a rectangle approximately 280 by 380. So we have a rectangle here. Okay, and it's 280 by 380. It says find the approximate population density. So I have PD equals the population, which we already know, 5,268,367, divided by the area here. So to find the area, I'm going to need to multiply 380 times 280, right? Because this is a rectangle, and to find the area of a rectangle, you just do length times width. And so I can go ahead and do that. If I multiply those two together, I'm going to get 106,400. Okay, and so that's what I'll divide by here. And then I'm going to end up with a population density of 49.5. So we'll round that to approximately 50, because the whole number here, because we're dealing with people, per square mile. All right. So not too high of a population density there. We'll go to the next page here, same idea. We're looking for the population density. It says India has a population of 6,495,978. Okay, so that's our population. That's part of it. Remember, our formula looks like this. PD equals population over area. Its territory can be modeled by a trapezoid as shown in the figure. Each unit on the coordinate grid represents 1 mile. Find the approximate population density of India. So for this, I need to know what the area is of this trapezoid that's here. We can do this a couple different ways. I'm going to go ahead and break this down into shapes that we are familiar with here. Okay, so I'm going to start here. We've got this triangle right there. Okay, we've got another triangle over here. And then, of course, we've got this rectangle in the middle. So if we break it down that way, it's a little bit easier to find the area of each piece there. Okay, so I'll go ahead and start with that. Here's my first shape. Okay, I've got that triangle there, and the units for that, it looks like each one of those tick marks is worth 20, right? So I'm going to use the area of a triangle, which is 1/2. The base is going to be, let's see, the base looks like it is, oh no, each one of these is worth 40, I believe. Yes, each one of these tick marks is worth 40. Okay, so that's going to be 1/2 40, because that's the base right there, times the height. And if I count up 40, 80, 120, I'll get the area of that first triangle there, which is going to be 2,400. Okay, now the rectangle that's in the middle. And if I count the units there, it looks like it's 280 by 120. So just multiply those two together. I'm going to end up with an area of 33,600. And then finally, this triangle at the end. And it looks like we have a height still of 120. So 1/2, 120. And it looks like that's going to be by 120 for the base, right? 40, 80, 120. And so then I can multiply those together and I end up with 7,200. And so the entire area for that territory, I would just add up these three pieces here. And I'm going to end up with 43,200. So to find the population density, we're going to have the population, which is 6,495,978, divided by adding those three pieces up, gives me 43,200. And I can divide here, I end up with approximately 150 people per square mile. So the problem's a little bit on the long side, right? But they're not, the math is not terribly difficult with them. Let's take a look at the next one here, which is about Springfield. It's got a population of 1,323,459, so a population right off the bat. And then we need to go ahead and find the area of this territory, which is a triangle. And it looks like each one of the tick marks for this triangle, zooming in here, would be, let's see, 20, 40, 60, 80, 100. All right, so each one is worth 20 there. And so let's go ahead and find the area of that triangle. So we know we can find the area by using 1/2 the base, which we can see is 100. Right, length of 100, and it looks like the height goes up here to 220. And then we'll go ahead and evaluate that, and we'll end up with 11,000. And so then we can find the population density, because it's just the population, 1, 3, 2, 3, 4, 5, 9, divided by the area of that territory, which is a triangle, so that's 11,000. And we're going to end up with a population density, we'll round it again because we're dealing with people, of approximately 120 people per square mile. All right, and we'll go to the last part here. It says King's Landing has one of the highest population densities in the world, with 111,002 people per square mile. So in this case, they're giving you the entire population density, right? And then it says King's Landing total population is 1,652,171. And then they're giving you the population. How large is King's Landing to the nearest 1/10 of a square mile? Well, remember, our formula looks like this: population density equals, we have the population divided by the area, and in this case we are looking for the area, right? Because it's asking how big. They gave us the other pieces. So I'm going to rewrite this just with some variables here. So I'm going to say the density equals the population over the area. And since I'm going to solve for area, I'm going to rearrange this formula so that area is by itself here. So I'm going to multiply both sides by A. So I get A times D equals population, divide by the density, and I'm going to get area equals population over density. So I just kind of rearranged this so that it looks a little bit different, right? Mathematically correct though, because I just rearranged the variables. And now I can solve for area because I already know, looking at my word problem, right? I already know that our population is 1,652,171, and our population density is 111,002 people. And so then I can go ahead and divide those two things, and I'm going to end up with 14.9. This is miles, square miles. So just a little bit different there because we were solving for the area instead of the population density there. All right, thanks for watching.